The Moeller technique. What is it and how can you use it? The Moeller technique is a technique that's named after Sanford Gustav Moeller, who learned this technique from Civil War drummers back in the early 20th century, and then taught it to many drummers, including Gene Krupa and Jim Chapin, who then taught it throughout the 20th century to their students. I learned it from Dom Famularo, who learned it from Jim Chapin, and I'm using his concept stick, the American Concept Stomps pad stick from Firth today, to demonstrate the technique. The nice thing about the technique is that one movement generates 3 different strokes. It's a technique that happens in 3 different strokes. The fundamental stroke is the whip. If you notice, it's a whipping motion, and you can hear the swoosh of the stick coming down like the crack of a whip. This stroke is called a control stroke because I'm not allowing the stick to rebound. If I allow the stick to come up and rebound, I have the second stroke, which is the tap. Notice how I let the stick come up and then tap. The third stroke is called a pull-out or an upstroke. The upstroke pulls out a small little light note as the stick comes up in the upstroke. So the 3 strokes together, whip, tap, upstroke, look like that, and those are the 3 strokes. Now the pumping motion is a motion associated with the Moeller technique, and it looks generally like the pumping of an old style well where the handle is being pumped for water. And it's a very useful technique. When you put these 3 strokes together, you notice how you get this pumping motion. That generates a number of notes here in a triplet style. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Now, there are many uses for the Moeller technique. It's used for accents because the whip can generate an accent. And you could also generate several rebounds with just 1 whip. So I was doing it in triplets. I could very easily do it in 16th notes. Same thing with the left hand. 16th notes. 1 the end, 2 the end, 3 the end, 4 the end. Now, one of the things I like about the technique is that once you get the pumping motion happening, you don't need to use an accent. It will just create, generate a steady stream of notes, nice and going around the drum. Or you can use it on the bell of a cymbal or on a hi-hat, either for straight 16ths or to generate an accent. It also produces a very loud sound if you're using the full whipping motion. So if you're playing in loud rock bands or arena rock bands, it generates a lot of sound for that. As on the Jojo Mayer video, Secret Weapons for the Modern Drummer, he recommends using heavy sticks. I'm using the Firth marching stick, the MS4, which is a heavy solid birch stick. One of the things that I never had was a lot of upper body strength. So doing the Moeller really helped me to develop a lot of strength. Now what I'm doing here is a full stroke Moeller, where I'm letting the stick come up and come down for a control stroke. I like to let the stick come all the way down, but you don't necessarily need to do that. You can keep, if it comes all the way down, I'm totally relaxed, and I like that as an exercise. But in the use of the technique, the stick does not come all the way down. So here, in a full Moeller, you're getting quite an exercise in the upper arms, in the shoulders. And then we have a half Moeller here. The elbow comes out just a little. Forearm is generating the stroke. And then your low Moeller just with a wrist motion. So these are 3 stages of a molar. You could use them for different dynamic levels, and they're very useful for that. So using the heavy sticks really helped me a lot to develop a lot of strength in my arms and a lot of endurance. The nice thing about the Moeller technique as well is, since you're not relying on the rebound, getting around the drums, getting around the tom-toms is a lot easier than if you're relying on the rebound on, let's say, the floor toms, where you might not get a lot of response. So it really works up a lot of strength. That's useful for that. It's also wonderful in funk and rock drumming to use it either for development of an accent, or you could use the pull-out for a ghost note. You could use the whip for a backbeat. It's a nice way of placing the note. You don't need to actually use it for a very loud sound. You just place the note with the lower molar, and you really get a nice sound out of the drum. So the Moeller technique is a very useful technique, and so good books to look at for this are the It's Your Move by Dom Famularo, and then the Applied Moeller Technique of Jim Chapin's Advanced Techniques for the Modern Drummer. You can also pick up Jim's DVD or VHS, which is now available on DVD, that goes over the Moeller technique as well. And all these resources are really a good way to get started, get yourself a good teacher, and you're on your way. You have a good day.